Issuing sales invoices. The sales made to your customers can be recorded as sales vouchers in Tally, and invoices can be issued. To enter a sales voucher, select Vouchers from the Gateway of Tally menu. Select the right button F8 for sales. If you want to manually enter the customer's purchase order number and date, then use the button Configure, set Show More Configuration, and set the option Provide Reference Number and Date and accept the Configure window. If the sales voucher entry date needs to be changed, use the right button F2 and change the date. Tally allows you to enter the date in any of these flexible formats. You may enter the date using dashes, or enter the date with slashes, or enter the date with spaces, or enter the date with dots, or with the short month name. Or simply change the day, and Tally uses the month and year used earlier. To select the party account name, you can key in a few letters of the name starting with or containing the letters to select the customer ledger. If you have enabled the option Check for credit days during voucher entry for the customer ledger, then Tally will warn you on any pending invoices unpaid by the customer. Press any key to continue. Verify the customer's address details. You may accept this window using the Enter key repeatedly or by using Ctrl and A. If you want to allocate all items to the same sales ledger, then use the button Configure, set Show More Configuration, and enable the option Select Common Ledger Account for item allocation. If you need to allocate different sales ledgers for each item, then you may switch this off. As cost centers are being used, and if the sales ledgers are applied to cost centers, then you may enable the option Select Cost Center/Class. You can check this by using the Go To button. Select Alter Master and choose Ledger. Select the sales ledger and press Enter, and check if the cost centers are applicable is enabled. Use the Escape key and come back to the invoice configuration window. You may also enable the Show List of Cost Centers to allow selection of cost centers. Accept the Configure window. Select the sales ledger and the cost center that is to be allocated to all the items of the invoice. Alternatively, you may use voucher classes to allocate each item to a different sales ledger automatically. To do this, alter each stock item, press the Configure button, enable the option Set Default Accounting Allocations for stock items. Accept to come back to the stock item alteration screen. Set the option Set/Modify Default Ledgers for Invoicing to Yes, and select the required sales and purchase ledgers as default accounting allocation. Accept to save the changes. Repeat this to all the stock items. Alter the sales voucher type and set up a voucher class by typing any name for the voucher class. Exclude the ledgers of any groups if needed. Example, if you want to exclude ledgers under creditors group, you may do so. Set the default sales account, but ensure that you set the option Override using Item Default to Yes, which will fetch the default ledger allocation from the stock item. Specify any additional entries required. Please note that if you specify the additional entries, then you will not be able to add or change them while creating the voucher. Enable the option Remove if zero if you do not want retain any additional entries with zero amount. Example, you may not want to print the sales discount if discount is 0. In the sales voucher entry screen, when you press F8 Sales button, you will be able to select the voucher class as well as the cost center class. In case you do not need to apply the voucher class, you may set it as not applicable. Select the stock item from the list by entering the starting few letters of the item name. You may enter the description or skip the description by leaving the description line blank and pressing Enter. Select the location and enter the quantity. The rate will be picked up from the standard selling price entered in the stock item. You may select multiple locations in the subsequent lines if the item is being dispatched from more than one location, or leave the location blank to end the allocations. If you have selected to allocate the sales ledger for each item, then pressing Enter on the amount will allow you to allocate it to the sales ledger required. If not, Then it will start the next line where you may select another item, and repeat the same steps of selecting the location and entering the quantity sold. To end the list of items, leave the name of item blank or select End of List and press Enter. In the Additional Entries section, you may add any additional charges such as packing or delivery charges applicable. If the ledger does not exist, you may create a new ledger using Alt and C. You may enter any description applicable for the ledger. Enter the additional cost amount or specify a percentage for tally to calculate. If you want the percentage calculation to be applied only on the items, then use the Configure button and disable the option Calculate Tax on Current Subtotal. Similarly, you may select other ledgers applicable such as taxes and other charges, etc. Leave the item blank to end the list. From the Invoice Total field, press Enter to move to the bill-wise details of the invoice. This is used to track the pending invoices, generate aging analysis, and to make receipts against the pending invoices. The option Advance is used mostly for advance amounts received as deposits before the sales. The option Against Reference is used to offset the sales when funds are received. The option New Reference is used in sales to indicate that a new invoice is issued without any previous references or receipts against it. The option On Account is used when references are not available to offset. This is used as a suspense or as a temporary measure until references are available. Please note that the On Account entries will not be included in the Aging Analysis report. To indicate that this is a new invoice, select New Ref and the invoice number will automatically be filled up. The due date is fetched from the customer's ledger. Accept the amount and press Enter. Enter the narration if required and press Enter. Accept to save the new sales voucher. Altering sales vouchers. You may use multiple methods to alter the voucher. In the voucher entry screen, simply press the Page Up key to go back to the previous voucher or by using any voucher report. From the main gateway of Tally menu, select Day Book. The Day Book will show all the vouchers entered as of the current date. You may use the Right button F2 to change the report date or the Period button Alt and F2 to change the report period. To display more details, use the button F12 and set the options as required. To alter the voucher, press Enter on the sales voucher. Another way to alter vouchers is by selecting the Go to button Alt+G and type the name of the report, day book or sales register and press Enter. Select the month and then the voucher to alter it. To verify the sales voucher entered, you can use the Change Mode button using Ctrl+H and select as voucher. You will be able to view the voucher with debits and credits and verify that the total debit amount is equal to the total credit amount. Printing the sales invoice. You may print the invoice using the Alt+P Print button and select Current. Before printing, select your printer using the button Printer. The printer properties is shown where you can select the paper size and orientation. Please note that you may set these printer properties directly in Windows so that they are saved for future use. Use the Configure button. Click on Show More and set the Use Simple Invoice format as No. If you want to print the invoice with the company logo, then set the Show Company Logo as Yes and select the logo file in the image path. Please note that only JPEG or BMP files are supported. The recommended size is 96 pixels in width and 80 pixels in height. Scroll down and set the height and width of both the normal and simple formats to 0 so that it will automatically fit to the paper size that you select. Use the Escape key to come back to the print screen. Use the Preview button to view the invoice. To print the invoice using the simple format, use the Configure button and select Use Simple Invoice Format as Yes and then preview the invoice. To change the invoice format to the second Malaysian format, use the Go to button and select Alter Master, choose Voucher Type and select Sales. If you want to print the sales invoice after you save it, automatically set the option Print Voucher after saving to Yes. Set the print format to Malaysian 2, Accept to save the changes. Use the escape key to come back to the voucher printing window and preview the format.